It's Monday, August 26, 2019, and this is Globespan 24x7 News. My name is Samuel Suknaden, coming to you live from Georgetown, Guyana. Here are the major headlines for today. Another woman dies after being stabbed by her partner. Red Thread calls for more action to help curb domestic violence. Results for questionable public opinion poll revealed. ExxonMobil technicians they begin advanced training in Canada, and a meeting on the revision of the Cummingsburg Accord postponed. We start off tonight's news by telling you that just a week after 44-year-old Vinette James was stabbed to death by her reputed husband, 27-year-old Charmaine Frank on Sunday met a similar fate after she was killed by the father of her children. Globespan 24x7 News understands that the mother of three was sleeping in her Victoria Village, East Coast Demerara home when the man snuck in using a small bathroom window and stabbed her. The now dead woman's brother heard her screams, and when he rushed to her aid, he discovered her lying in a pool of blood. She was immediately rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital, where she was pronounced dead on arrival. Police have since been on the hunt for the suspect. Investigations are ongoing. In light of the recent gruesome murders of two women by their partners, Red Thread coordinator Karen D'Souza stressed that new and more meaningful measures must be put in place to address the long ongoing scourge of violence facing the Guyanese society. More from Shakima Day.
This woman hacked to death by husband. Essequibo woman stabbed to death by husband. Woman shot by estranged lover. Policewoman hacked to death by lover. These are all familiar headlines carrying the same pattern of violence against women. Most recently, in a one-week span, two women from villages on the East Coast were brutally stabbed to death by their male partners. These closely related incidents have caught the attention of the Red Thread, a non-governmental organization primarily focused on the rights of women and children. Coordinator of the organization, Karen D'Souza, in an interview with Globespan 24x7, stressed that despite the many measures implemented to curb this issue, women still continue to face threats by men.
For many years, we've done public education in communities to talk about, being our neighbor's keeper, about the importance of taking violence and the threats of violence seriously. We've spoken repeatedly with young people about recognizing violence in their relationships, but it is still clearly not enough because women are still dying at the hands of those who are purportedly supposed to love them.
According to D'Souza, one of the main issues to be addressed is the rehabilitation program for perpetrators. She stated that these programs need to be a mandatory implementation for men who have been charged with abuse to reduce the window for reoccurrence.
The big gap that we have in the approaches so far is the education or the programs addressing perpetrators, and those have to be funded, they have to be resourced, and people have to be trained to run those programs. And Red Thread's position is that these are programs that should be attached to the courts so that it's mandatory that attendance at the program for 6 months, for a year, for 2 years is done.
Up to 70% of women face physical or sexual violence in their lifetime, according to recent United Nations statistics. Most violence takes place in intimate relationships. Women are encouraged to speak out with the hopes that it can potentially save a life. Reporting for Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Thanks, Shakima. Police are investigating an alleged murder committed on Ravildo Williams, 18, of Lot 37, Friendship, on the east bank of Demerara on Sunday, August 25, 2019, at about 23 hours 30 on the Diamond Access Road. Initial investigations revealed that the victim had previously left a wedding reception and was heading home, during which he stopped at a stand to purchase fish and chips. Subsequently, a group of men was seen fleeing the location. The victim was found with stab wounds to the left side of his body and was rushed to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. One person is in police custody assisting with the investigation. Meanwhile, the Civil Defense Commission (CDC) continues to monitor weather patterns countrywide. The CDC noted the intense rainfall across Region 10, Upper Demerara Berbice from August 23 to 24. This, the Commission said, is influenced by the prevailing intertropical convergence zone. According to the Hydrometeorological Service, the highest level of rainfall was recorded in the community of Watoka, Linden, which measured approximately 1.2 inch. Accompanying the rainfall was high winds experienced by residents across the town. On August 24, a rapid assessment team was deployed. It was headed by Captain Salim October of the CDC and comprised of representatives from the region and affected communities. Due to the excessive rainfall, flash floods occurred across the town with Mackenzie and other areas. The strong winds resulted in damage to roofs and infrastructure of both businesses and private residences. The damaged roofs made premises vulnerable to rainfall, wetting both business and personal possessions within buildings. Communities which were most severely impacted included West Watoka, Mackenzie Central, Blueberry Hill, Squatting Area, Silver City, Silvertown, 1 Mile, and Victoria Valley. The preliminary results for the opinion poll held by the Turkine Research and Polling Institute throughout the weekend has left more questions than answers. We have this report from Kipani Jordan.
The Turkine Research and Polling Institute has been conducting a nationwide opinion poll over the last several days. The survey exercise has queried potential voters on their opinions on the current political situation and related developments, including popular support for aspiring presidential candidates, would-be challengers of President Granger, and other issues.
Dr. Maigu in his statement said the preliminary results show that PPPC presidential candidate Irfan Ali is an unpopular choice. Moreover, the poll found that a majority of persons expressed frustration at the political climate and preferred to have elections to be held at the earliest time possible. Also, a few persons expressed satisfaction at the work the government has been doing.
Now, in terms of the PPP's political support in the upcoming election, the party seems to have made a very unpopular decision, which may have some bearing on its electoral performance. A significant number of people are critical of the choice of Mr. Irfan Ali as its presidential candidate. Swing voters in particular appear to reject him unanimously. And what is notable is that Mr. Ali is rebuffed even by most PPP supporters who appear to prefer the former Attorney General Anil Nandalal and to a lesser extent Dr. Frank Anthony in some areas.
Dr. Maigu added, with regards to the upcoming elections, on whether elections were free and fair, a mere 19% believed it would, with a shocking 58% remaining undecided. But on the basis of guarding against any biases and the integrity of how the interviews were conducted, why Guyanese should believe the polls are accurate, and are the 12 to 14 surveyors credible without any political affiliation, Dr. Maigu just highlighted he is just a consultant to TRPI.
Made up the team, and also recently we've seen polls getting it really wrong.
Yeah.
Internationally.
Yeah.
Why should Guyanese public trust your poll?
Yeah. Well, I agree. Polls around the world have been very off, and you are right that it has to do with the answers as well, and the people's respondents to the poll. The point is that there's the other option is to not do a poll at all, right? I mean, so even if the poll and also in politics, because people change their mind, this happens as well. But the point is that there is a vacuum of data. We have no even attempt to provide national objective data.
For Globespan 24x7 News, I am Kipani Jordan.
Thanks, Kipani. The fraud case against People's Progressive Party Civic PPPC presidential candidate Irfan Ali was today adjourned until September 27, 2019, after the prosecutor of the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, did not appear in court. Ali had challenged the validity of the charges in the High Court, but Judge Franklin Holder declared that he does not have a constitutional right to not be charged. The case was then set to be called today at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. Ali is facing 19 counts of fraud regarding the sale of Pratteville 2 housing scheme lands during his time as housing minister. Another batch of approximately 50. My apologies. The meeting between a Partnership for National Unity APNU and the Alliance for Change AFC, scheduled for today, Monday, August 24, 2019, did not occur. According to a press statement from the APNU, the two sides have exchanged documents on the review of the Cummingsburg Accord and will meet at a date fixed after consideration of the documents by their respective leadership. The AFC have been calling for a revision of the Cummingsburg Accord, and this request was recently reinforced at a National Executive Council meeting of that party. The Cummingsburg Accord supported APNU's and AFC's joint contesting of the 2015 general elections, which saw the coalition defeating the PPPC, which lost power after 23 years. The Cummingsburg Accord is due to expire on February 14, 2020, but with general and regional elections expected this year, the parties have agreed to revise the accord ahead of the elections. Some members of the AFC feel that the party was not given its fair share to govern when they joined with APNU and won the 2015 election. The party is seeking a larger share of the governance structure of the country. While many Guyanese has given up on the political process, and more persons have either withheld their votes in the last local government elections or have expressed little interest, political commentator Raman Gaskin feels that the new small parties that have expressed an interest in contesting the next elections could make a difference once they manage to gain seats in the National Assembly. Here is that story.
Well, over the years, of course, we had the two big parties that enjoy the support of the people. We have some new parties on the scene now, new small parties, I call them, the ANUG and have the OVP, you have the Federal Party in Berbice. It is my hope that they would campaign vigorously and try to win support on a non-racial basis. And if that should happen, then these small parties may be able to gather some support in the parliament to act as a check on these big parties.
That was outspoken political commentator Raman Gaskin, who said it is his hope that the newly formed small parties would go out and campaign on the issues and move away from race.
We can end up with a minority government again, and then these small parties would have a lot of clout.
Gaskin said while people may view this as a repeat of the Alliance for Change, which started out in the opposition and then joined forces with the PNCR to win the government, and for some, they shifted on their initial promises, he said every party cannot be viewed as the same. Gaskin feels that the AFC does not have popular support from the Guyanese people as they did when the party was in the opposition. He said this is evident especially in the results of the last local government elections. Gaskin, a former presidential advisor to the late President Cherry Jagan, said he remains hopeful that the small parties will make a difference. He nevertheless noted that the governing Partnership for National Unity and the opposition People's Progressive Party Civic still have a lot of support, and it does not always have to do with race.
If you're a sugar worker or cane harvester or what have you, generally speaking, you support PPP because of the work of Dr. Jagan since 1948. There's a history to that. You get that from your parents and your grandparents. Not because you were Indian and Jagan was Indian, you support PPP. Because of the work Dr. Jagan did, fighting for sugar workers all the time, the GAU and all of that, and the Rice Producers Association. There's very good reason why those people still support PPP. And it's similarly in the PNC. There are very good reasons why a lot of PNC people support the party of Burnham, because of Burnham's work on the waterfront and the trade unions and so on. So although we have not been able to analyze this thing carefully, properly, we only look at it as a racially tainted vote, but it's not altogether race. There are very good reasons, besides race affiliation, why many people support both parties, the big parties.
For Globespan 24x7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. The general public is advised about a fake account purporting to be operated by the Ministry of the Presidency and President David Granger, luring unsuspecting citizens to execute money transfers and transactions via MMG in order to secure homes at Providence on the east bank of Demerara. The Ministry of the Presidency said in a statement that these accounts are fake and malicious. Persons contacted via these accounts to solicit monies are asked to report it to the nearest police station. The National Road Safety Council of Guyana is still pushing their Stop the Tears campaign and is urging persons from both the private and public sectors to continue to give their support in so as to work towards reducing road fatalities in the country. More in this report.
Launched in November last, the Stop the Tears campaign was an initiative implemented to address and reduce the number of road fatalities. A teardrop logo in commemoration of this was erected at the roundabout at Kitty, Georgetown. Since then, the Guyana Road Safety Council has been making strides, but according to Coordinator Ramona Durgan, more can still be done with the support of persons from the public and private sectors.
We started hyping the campaign again. We are encouraging private sector and public sector to come on board. We are encouraging them to come on board for us to change the, we have some billboards out there on the roadways, and we want to change them to facilitate the Stop the Tears campaign. We also are encouraging them to have ads running on the television and just have the teardrop and encourage don't drink and drive, don't text and walk and stuff like that. We encourage persons to have t-shirts, caps, anything that can make a difference and promote the Stop the Tears campaign.
Durgan stressed that the number of road-related accidents and deaths in Guyana is unacceptable. She stated that in order for change to occur, it will take a combined effort by all relevant stakeholders.
We're not supposed to be going backward, we're supposed to be going forward. And if we're doing forward movement, then we're not supposed to be seeing increases. And like we always say, that for us to do anything, one person can't do the job. It's not the police job, it's not the government job, it's not the Road Safety Council job. The onus is on all of us, you and I.
With the Stop the Tears campaign, the Road Safety Council hopes to one day internationally reduce road deaths by half the current amount of 1.2 million annually by 2020. Reporting for Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Thanks, Shakima. Mining Week 2019 is observed under the theme Fostering Respectability and Responsibility in Mining Conduct. And Natural Resources Minister Raphael Trotman did not fail to highlight the challenges faced and the many successes made in the sector. While at the opening, several journalists were awarded prizes for covering the sector in the last 4 years during the opening of Mining Week 2019. Here is Kibini Jordan with that report.
Natural Resources Minister Raphael Trotman touched on many challenges miners faced, but highlighted the progress made over the last 4 years.
We are not unmindful of the hardships, challenges, and even at times the disappointments. But I intend in my remarks this morning not to dwell on the challenges or dark stains some insist on placing on the industry and its regulation, but instead to look at the positive developments we have witnessed in a few short years. The gains we have made in the mining sector are quite impressive.
Further, he claimed that Guyana has been in the mining sector for over 100 years, and within the last 4 years, the mining sector has become more efficient through technology. Fostering respectability and responsibility in mining conduct. The minister added this theme is fitting, and is of the view that it speaks to the kind of sector the government envisions in Guyana, and also reminds us that mining is a respectable vocation when done in a responsible manner.
We were also able to significantly expand access to lands for small miners by facilitating mining lotteries in Georgetown, Port Kaituma, and Bartica, and they have reciprocated with higher yields. I pause to add that I've asked Mr. Denison's staff to begin preparations for a similar lottery in Madhya in Region 8 in the coming weeks. For the first half of this year, the mining and quarrying sector is estimated to have grown by 2.6%. This was fueled by a 4.4% expansion in the gold sector.
A few Guyanese journalists were also awarded for their coverage to the natural resources sector at the opening of Mining Week 2019. For Globespan 24x7 News, I am Kippany Jordan.
Thanks, Kippany. The first batch of Guyanese operations and maintenance technicians recruited by ExxonMobil Guyana to work on the floating production storage and offloading FPSO vessel is about to embark on an advanced systems training at the Cape Breton University in Canada. During the last several months, the 24 technicians were exposed to basic systems training in 4 disciplines: electrical, mechanical, instrumentation, and operations. The next 12 months will focus on discipline-specific training in each craft. They have expressed optimism about their ongoing training in Canada and are excited to return home at the end of their exercise in 2020. The employment and training of nationals is key to ExxonMobil's strategy of local content development. It is part of a multi-tiered approach which also includes supply development and strategic community investments. ExxonMobil says the aim is to develop a diverse and skilled workforce that can meaningfully contribute to Guyana's operations while being part of a global pool of talented, capable of meeting its future business needs wherever they operate. We'll take a short break. Do stay with us. You're watching.
We would like to ask all of our faithful viewers to kindly like and follow Globespan 24x7 Facebook page and subscribe to Globespan 24x7 YouTube channel to receive up-to-date notifications of when we are live. Globespan 24x7 has vacancies for full-time positions such as reporters, newscasters, and news editors. Persons serious about joining a new and dynamic news team are asked to send their application to careers@globespantechnology.com.
Amro's Travel Service is pleased to support Globespan 24/7 broadcasts. We provide travel solutions via our 4 locations in Trinidad: Chaguanas at 665-3383, Valpa 645-1604, Port of Spain 625-0800, and San Fernando at 652-4789. Remember, when you travel, Amro's is the way to go.
This newscast is brought to you with the kind compliments of Travelspan GT, with locations in Georgetown and Berbice. For all your travel needs, call Travelspan GT at 327-1701, located at Lot 3A North Road, Georgetown, between Camp and Wellington Street. In Rose Hall, call 337-4287, and in New Amsterdam, call 333-6230. Call Travelspan today.
Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Globespan 24/7 News. We continue by telling you of our regional and international news. Regionally, a pregnant woman was chopped to death in an attack at her home at Chin Chin Road, Las Lomas, number 1 in Trinidad shortly after midnight. Dead is Roxanne Mack. Her sister was also chopped but survived. The suspect in the attack is Mack's 19-year-old relative, who was arrested without incident at the scene. Neighbors are reporting that the suspect lived with his grandparents near Mack's home and had never exhibited violent tendencies before the attack. Some are claiming that the teenager was neglected. International leaders at the G7 summit have agreed to provide logistical and financial support to help fight fires in the Amazon rainforest. French President Emmanuel Macron said G7 countries would release $22 million However, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro said Macron's plan for an alliance to save the Amazon treated Brazil as if were a colony or no man's land. A record number of fires is burning in Brazil, mostly in the Amazon. And President Macron last week described the fires as an international crisis. He pushed back for them to be prioritized at the G7 summit, which his country is hosting. G7 leaders also intend to discuss plans to reforest the Amazon at the UN General Assembly meeting in September. The severity of the fires and the response by Brazil's government has prompted a global outcry and protests. And now for a look at what's happening in sport. Out of Trinidad and Tobago, the rail car dominated the spotlight yesterday at the Ghana Motor Racing and Sport Club's International Drag Meet at the South Dakota Circuit. The vehicle, driven by Andy Bisesar, won the unlimited category but had a false start in another unlimited race with Team Mohammed's Nissan Godzilla GTR. However, in the race, the Godzilla suffered a blowout and failed to finish. Team Mohammed then had encountered mechanical issues over the weekend and could not satisfy the expectations of hundreds of its fans who turned out to witness Goliath and Godzilla demolish the opposition. Unfortunately, Goliath did not even make an appearance on the starting line. Two-time Olympic champion David Rudisha has thanked the Almighty God for the gift of life after surviving a car accident in his native Kenya. The world 800-meter record holder, 30, was driving his SUV on the Nairobi-Kisumu highway when a tire burst and the vehicle collided head-on with a bus around 2200 hours 30 on Saturday. He was reportedly traveling to his home in western Kenya. Radisha was treated for minor soft tissue injuries, and police confirmed there were no deaths in the accident. Radisha has a wild card for next month's World Athletics Championships in Doha, but he is not expected to compete in the national trials in Nairobi on September 12th to 13th. And that has brought us to the end of today's news. On behalf of myself, Samuel Suknandan, the news and technical team, until next time, do have a great evening. Goodbye for now.